Hello everyone. This video presents a notable event that happened on each day from the past week in history. On June 23rd, 2023, Americans celebrate National Detroit-Style Pizza Day, a day to honor perhaps America's favorite food in a unique style. While most are familiar with New York-style and Chicago-style pizza, the variety invented by Buddy's Pizza in Detroit, Michigan back in 1946 is a major player in gustatory wars that define pizza. Detroit style is different, starting with its square shape, baked with a thick, airy crust in a square pan. Spread with plenty of Wisconsin brick cheese all the way to the ends, covered with racing stripes of pizza sauce, and baked to where the exposed cheese and crust is nice and crispy. In keeping with Detroit's identity as the center of car making, the original square pans were made from automotive drip catching pans. What is your favorite style of pizza? On June 24, 1949, NBC premiered the first Western-themed TV show, an adaptation of a character created by Clarence E. Mulford in 1904, Hopalong Cassidy. The character played by William Boyd on television was a tough cowboy who had a funny walk due to an old injury from being shot in the leg. Prior to the TV show, Boyd appeared in 66 films between 1935 and 1948 as Cassidy. The TV show started out showing edited versions of the films before transitioning to fresh material. Airing until 1952, Hopalong Cassidy broke major TV ground and set the stage for numerous successful television westerns during the 1950s and 1960s, including long-running favorites Gunsmoke and Bonanza. What is your favorite TV western? On June 25, 1997, an unmanned Russian spacecraft called Progress M blundered into the Russian-manned Mir space station. Despite considerable damage, no lives were lost, and the space station continued its mission. Launched in 1986, Mir was a Soviet space venture that was built up through 1996 and eventually abandoned and burned up on re-entry to the Earth's atmosphere in 2001. Manned by a crew of 3, Mir was the largest human-built satellite of the Earth until the International Space Station was built starting in 1998. Holding space records eventually beaten by the ISS, Mir was occupied by humans for 4,592 days of its 15-plus year life, including an almost 10-year span of continuous human occupation. Would you like to visit the International Space Station? On June 26, 1997, the first of the Harry Potter series of novels by J.K. Rowling was published in Britain. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was the first of what have been 7 novels so far, featuring the young title wizard and his friends in their schooling and other adventures. Not only have the books sold over 600 million copies, 8 feature films starring the characters have also been made, pulling in a staggering $7.7 billion at the box office. Obviously, Miss Rowling has profited greatly from the success of her iconic creation and is wealthy as a result, reputedly a billionaire, although she claims otherwise due to having donated so much money to charities. As a question for my students and subscribers, have you read the Harry Potter books and/or seen the films? Please let us know in the comments section below this video. On June 27, 2017, a massive cyber attack began on Europe, the USA, and Australia, with Ukraine being the main target. Businesses, government offices, utilities, banks, and other targets were hit, 80% of which were in Ukraine. Although disguised to appear as ransomware, the 2-day attacks were found out by Ukrainian investigators to have been perpetrated by Russian agents within Ukrainian territory. The hackers' equipment was seized, and it was also discovered this same group was responsible for a 2016 attack against Ukrainian financial institutions and utilities. After the 2014 seizure of the Crimea by Russia, relations between Ukraine and Russia have been strained, with many accusations by each side of sabotage and cyber meddling. On June 28, 1776, an incident that may have escaped your elementary school education occurred when one of General George Washington's elite bodyguards was hanged for mutiny, sedition, and treachery. Irish-born Thomas Hickey of unknown age had immigrated to North America and served in the British Army during the French and Indian War as an attendant to Major General William Johnson. When the Americans declared independence in 1776, Hickey joined the Revolution as a private in the Continental Army, serving in George Washington's personal bodyguard corps called the Life Guard. Hickey found himself in trouble for passing counterfeit money, and while in jail made the mistake of telling another prisoner that he was part of a conspiracy to murder Washington. The other prisoner spilled the beans, and Hickey was tried and convicted of mutiny and sedition and promptly hanged. On June 29, 1971, the first human space travelers to die while in space perished when their Soyuz 11 space capsule depressurized after leaving the Soviet space station Salyut 1. Salyut 1 was the first space station launched into orbit around the Earth in April of 1971, and despite its then groundbreaking technology, only lasted less than 6 months, of which humans occupied it for a total of 24 days. Soviet cosmonauts Georgy Dobrovolsky, Vladislav Volkov, and Viktor Petsev had become the first ever spacemen to occupy a space station from June 7th to June 29th, 1971. A previous Soviet attempt to enter Salyut 1 had failed. Fortunately, these 3 Soviet heroes remain the only humans that have died while in space, the other space-related fatalities having occurred within Earth's atmosphere or on the ground. As a question for my students and subscribers, which event from this past week in history would you most like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History in Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated. For image, audio, and other credits and attributions for components of the individual videos in this compilation, please see the descriptions of their respective videos, which are linked to in this video's description.